Restorative justice is a non-judgmental process where victims of crime can safely tell offenders how they have been affected, and where offenders can take responsibility and try to repair the harm caused. It is a really useful tool to achieve better outcomes for people who have been impacted by a crime and to reduce the likelihood of criminals re-offending. To show you how restorative justice works, here is a scenario that we have seen many times.
This is Ed. Ed is having a drink with his mates at their local pub. This is Tom. He has been drinking for several hours and starts an argument with Ed. It ends with Tom punching Ed and knocking him out. An ambulance and the police are called, which results in charges against Tom. After spending the night at the police station, Tom realises he's messed up. It's also not the first time he's been arrested for violent behaviour. In court, he pleads guilty to assaulting Ed. Meanwhile, Ed spends 3 nights in hospital and is diagnosed with concussion. He has to take time off work and experiences anxiety after the attack, which makes him reluctant to socialise and affects his relationship with his partner. A judge decides that the case would be appropriate for restorative justice, which works independently from the court and police. A facilitator is assigned to take on the referral and contact both parties. The first part of the restorative justice process involves both parties being given an opportunity to have individual meetings, which are completely confidential and voluntary. These meetings are called pre-conferences and give the offender and the victim the chance to speak about the offending in a broader context. Pre-conferences are also used to connect both parties with community services or programs, and to answer any questions about their responsibilities or the justice process. Although Ed is initially hesitant, he decides it would help him to express how he feels about what happened so he can get it off his chest. Tom attended his pre-conference and expressed his remorse and a willingness to hear about the impact his actions had, and to put things right for Ed. The facilitator determines that the restorative justice process is suitable for the case and both parties want to participate, so a conference is organised. At the conference, Tom and Ed talk about what happened. The restorative justice facilitator guides the conversation so everyone can share their views in a safe environment. Ed explains the impact the assault has had on his life and the harm it's caused. His partner has attended the meeting to support him. Tom talks about the problems his drinking has caused in the past and that he recognises that he needs help to address it. He also has a support person with him. He apologises to Ed, who after sharing his story feels like he has the closure he needs to move on. Tom also agrees to pay Ed $1,000 reparation for the time he's had to take away from work. It was agreed that this would be paid before Tom's sentencing via the restorative justice account. In a conversation after the conference, Ed shares with the facilitator that the restorative justice process has taken him from being anxious about being out socially to being able to go out with awareness and with his confidence back. Tom's feedback to the facilitator was that the process made him reflect deeply on the ripple effect and unseen harm caused by his actions. He said it would sit with him in the future. After the conference, the restorative justice facilitator writes a report that outlines what was said, the outcome agreements of an apology and reparation. Copies of the report are given to Tom and Ed, as well as the sentencing judge, legal counsel, and the prosecution. A referral to a local addiction support provider is made, and Tom starts attending regular meetings with them. The report from the restorative justice meeting is then used by the judge to gain a greater understanding of the context of the offending, as well as the impact this crime has had on Ed. It is considered during Tom's sentencing, where it's acknowledged that he's taken steps to apologise to Ed, address his drinking problem, and pay some reparation.
Studies have shown that restorative justice can reduce reoffending. We are really well connected with other agencies and service providers in our regions. We use our local connections to direct both victims and offenders to people for longer term support. This includes agencies that will work with offenders to address their behaviours. Through restorative justice, we might discover that someone's offending is driven by a substance addiction, or problems with their anger from growing up in a violent household. We'll arrange for that person to meet with an organisation who can work with them on addressing their anger issues and start their journey towards a healthier lifestyle. We also collect reparation, which helps speed up payments to the victims so that they are able to move on with their lives and recover faster. The restorative justice process is guided by 6 principles. The service is voluntary, participant-centred, flexible and responsive, and safe. It also promotes understanding and encourages offender accountability. Restorative justice allows for outcomes such as reparation, counselling, rehabilitation, or simply a genuine apology and explanation. It can help to restore power and peace of mind to the victim. Throughout the process, we encourage questions and ask everyone involved if there are any cultural inclusions needed at the conference, such as mihi or karakia, to help everyone feel safe and supported. It is really important that victims and offenders involve support people like whānau, friends or an advocate throughout the process and also at the conference. Interpreters are also available if needed. Restorative justice gives victims a voice. It is completely voluntary, and if either party doesn't want to take part or doesn't feel comfortable, it won't go ahead. Because it's genuine, it can really make a difference. It also allows us to look at what is driving someone to offend and to prevent more of it from happening in the future, helping to keep our communities safer. Kia ora.